Okay, this natal reading is for Ezra. So, Ezra is Aquarius ascendant. Having Aquarius in the ascendant, as the ascendant, the first house, the ascendant, representing what you present to the world and what you dress yourself up with in order to show reality, what you decide to show, your personal interests and things that you are into. This being in Aquarius, the futuristic, humanitarian sign, ruled by Uranus and Saturn. Uranus being the planet of innovation, rebellion, and independence and originality. Saturn structure. So this being in the ascendant, to the world you appear very intellectual or very logical, or at least have your own mentality or your own thoughts based on conclusions that you came up to on your own. People probably would look at you as, like a trendsetter or a leader of a sort. This could lead to having a lot of friends or a lot of friends or acquaintances, but there's always that tendency to not get too personal or keeping it a little impersonal or keeping distance between yourself and these people or that lack of emotional connection on the surface, because this is how people perceive you. So people may be looking at you as a little too impersonal. Maybe even too much of a know-it-all, because Aquarius is fixed in thought. So it's hard to see how other people come to conclusions or their mental processes when you're in your own air bubble, when you're in your own thought bubble or thinking your own thing. So it's important to not get too carried away, even though you may be liked for the way that you think or be appreciated for your individuality and independence. Don't get lost and think that you don't need to compromise or work with other people, or that other people can show you different answers or another way to present yourself in a beneficial way. That would be your ascendant, how you present yourself to the world. You may be into sci-fi or very futuristic things, very humanitarian, progressive things. Maybe you show or people see you helping out the less fortunate. That may be a tendency or what people associate with you, or what you're personally into, helping out people who are less fortunate, or having a like-minded group, leading a like-minded group of friends. Sun in Scorpio. Scorpio and Aquarius, that's heavy leadership signs or energy going on here. But with the sun in Scorpio, your perspective, and my sun is in Scorpio as well, so I can relate. With the sun in Scorpio, your perspective is going to be focused on what's behind closed curtains. Sun in Scorpio breeds an incredibly curious mind. There is always the focus or desire to get to the core of things and their main emotional drivers. This comes because with the sun in Scorpio, you yourself analyze your own desires and your own motives, and knowing that you have these things that you keep deep inside you. You understand that that's how the world works, or that other people have those things too. Scorpio is the sign of death and transformation. It is fixed water, so it's holding on to feelings and emotions and intuition. It's that concentration of that. It's kind of has that icy energy to it. So yeah, it has death or represents death and transformation. So it delves into the more darker parts of life, or at least there's an interest in them, or a more of an air of familiarity for the darker aspects of life when you come into Scorpio. If you look at the time Scorpio comes, that's when it really starts getting dark. Libra initiates the fall, but cardinal, and it's the cardinal, and then Scorpio is actual fall happening. It's the betrayal of Jesus, it's when the sun falls, when the sun actually falls. So this is ending of October, November time, when we're actually getting shorter nights, where the nights are shorter now, and the sun's kind of gone. So that's the energy that Scorpio comes with. With this being the worldview, you're seeing how things descend or how things fall, and which gives great depth, because you have to. It's that desire or that in-depth look to see how it happened or why it happened, or the emotional drivers behind. So there's incredible depth when it comes to Scorpio. This being your perspective or your worldview, you look at the world through its depths, and you go really deep. You're not really a surface level looking person. So you may be going too deep in areas where depth isn't needed, where tending to the surface may require more attention than what's going deep. Or you're trying to go deep in something that has no depths, trying to go deep into something that is just a surface level. So you also need to be aware of that. Moon in Scorpio too, which is a very interesting alignment, because the moon falls in Scorpio. When a planet falls in a sign, it doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't have the qualities or that it's, it's the worst thing, or that it's detriment. It just means that the planet is unaware of itself. So there's less awareness of emotions, or less familiarity, or knowing how to handle it. It's kind of out of your control or out of your view, because it's false. It's kind of out of your view to a degree. But Scorpio moon causes vulnerability, and because you manifest depth, you bring into your life this deep analysis of emotions, and this is how you emotionally respond to things. So you may feel like you're under the light bulb, or that you're under somebody's scope often, more often than not. Maybe presenting yourself in smaller ways maybe seem way bigger than what it would be for somebody else, someone with a more expressive sign, such as Leo. Wouldn't it be too afraid to express, or would it, the type of embarrassment that would get the Leo is way or something that wouldn't embarrass a Leo would scare the crap out of a Scorpio moon to express that, because of this depth, inner perspective or scope that they have, or that they project, or that they respond to. So when they're interacting with people, this is kind of what they're bringing into their life, or the vibe that they're on, that they believe people are responding to them in that way, or they take those emotions and use it into that, or turn it into vulnerability. But this can also create intense power, because you're constantly aware, or you're deeply aware of your own emotions and how you respond to things and how things make you feel. So this comes with brings incredible knowledge of self. Highly recommend all Scorpios, even especially Scorpio moons, to get into spirituality and things like tarot and divination and all of that, everything esoteric, to really build that spiritual strength for them to be able to handle the depths that the sign Scorpio goes into. Mercury in Libra. So this Mercury is the planet of thinking and communicating and intellect and how you process things in your mind. So with your Libra and Mercury, or with your Mercury and Libra, you kind of process things in your mind, or you kind of tend to communicate the lighter aspects of the deeper things that you are seeing, or you creatively express the deepness, or you creatively express the things that you are into, or the things that you perceive within your worldview. With Mercury and Libra, Libra being ruled by Venus, but it's the masculine side of Venus, so it's pushing out love, beauty, abundance, and charm and peace. And it's also cardinal air, so it's initiating these things. This will make you a pretty good communicator, a really good communicator, or able to say the right things, or able to put words together in a very palatable and pleasant way. This combined with Scorpio kind of breeds not necessarily it has to be a manipulative type of skill set, and that's not necessarily always a bad thing. That's just simply making your environment move for you. A lot of things is manipulation that we don't admit is manipulation, even though it is, and that's not inherently bad. But you can dive into a dangerous side of it. But when you're able to communicate things pleasantly, or able to find specific words that creatively express what you're looking into, you can kind of navigate or dance around, able to find other people's deeper meanings, or dance around to be able to avoid people, scoping you out, or you be able to say something that satisfies someone without necessarily giving them the whole truth of what you're perceiving or what you think to be real, not giving your whole perspective. So Libra and Mercury, this leads to or this is very peaceful communicating. You probably don't fight with people, or don't get into a lot of arguments, or don't find it necessary to get into a lot of arguments. If somebody's going against you or arguing against you, you'll probably just allow them to do that, which also you need to watch out for. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but there's a balance. Maybe sometimes you should stand your ground and you should say specific things, even if it is going to disappoint the other person, even if you emotionally don't really care, or deep down that this, and it doesn't matter if this person's disagreeing. You're just gonna let them say, which is not too bad which is not a bad mentality to be in. But certain people, or in specific times, maybe they really do need to learn this thing, or maybe it'll benefit everybody if they were to look at things from your perspective, or if you weren't just to let them disagree with you, or if you were to show them a deeper side in a creative way that Libra allows. So that's Libra and Mercury. Venus and Libra too. Venus, or Libra, is ruled by Venus, like I was saying before, the masculine side of Venus. So having Libra home, or having Venus home in Libra, Venus is very comfortable. It's able to act in an environment that it's very comfortable with. It's at home. It has all its things in the right place, and it's comfortable, and it's able to do its job to its full potential. But you can also, dive too deep and get too comfortable. So, there's always a yin and yang to everything. But Libra and Venus, this kind of gives you incredible grace, incredible harmony, and communication skills. You're just able to really communicate and connect with people. It's really hard for people to come to you with that antagonistic energy, but not saying that they won't, they will. But because yeah, life is always going to throw that at you, but you're probably able to handle that more, or you're always putting out or balancing or trying to bring harmony to a situation, or trying to establish peace in some way, shape, or form. But this may make you a little bit more passive, just like what I was saying with the Mercury. It may be allowing certain people to do specific things or get away with specific things, being too passive, or maybe even gullible, when deep inside, you're knowing how your emotions are, or how things are affecting you with your Scorpio sun and moon, but with your Libra, Mercury, and Venus, you may play it out, or this is what you're presenting on the surface, or you're peaceful and heart. You're kind of masking your pain to a degree, or keeping your pain or deeper emotions internal, and presenting a more lighthearted, more harmonic type attitude towards the world, and hiding your emotions, which can also be a detriment, because you need to express yourself, especially within your relationships. Venus rules or dictates your relationships, your values, and your connectivity, and how you're able to connect with people. So in regards to relationships, it will be vital to find somebody who won't take advantage of you, somebody who understands how you are in your world perspective and will meet you halfway. You're not just going halfway for no reason, or for somebody who won't do it. So because you come with this grace, because you come with such a positive, loving approach, you should be careful on who you give this love to, where you express this peace and harmony, because some people don't deserve it. And you may fall into that gullible bag of that Libra energy, where you're too passive and let people walk over you. With Mars in Cancer, Mars is the planet of passion, willpower, desire, and intent. It is actions and what you do and how you do it. This being in Cancer, Cancer is ruled by the moon. So it's a very emotional sign. It is cardinal water. So it is initiating connectivity. It's initiating sparking memories and intuition. Cancer is a very powerful sign. A lot of water going on. It's initiating water. It's initiating connectivity. It's initiating intuition. It's initiating memories. So your Mars being there, what motivates you, or what you generally tend to act on. Cancer's also very heavy emphasis on home and all things personal. Just like how I was saying, it's ruled by the moon. And the moon is you. The moon represents you. It's your emotion. It's the real you. Your subconscious. So with your subconscious, it's very personal, or it's due to your experiences and the things that make you comfortable. So this creates this heavy emphasis on your home life and everything that is around you. So the things that you do is probably very family oriented, or at least all things close and personal for you. Your driving factor to do things would be to have your immediate environment in order, or to be able to express yourself in your immediate environment with Mars in Cancer. You're probably very passionate and loving, and caring, having that motherly, nurturing type characteristics for all people that you allow close to you. But when somebody but you don't just let anybody get close to you. They kind of have to, earn that first. This may lead to a lot of moody actions too, or acting based on emotions. You may get really riled up, or end up doing a lot of things based on emotions that you may regret later, because Cancer is ruled by the moon, cardinal water, so it's initiating these feelings. So you may get lost in the initial feeling of the emotions and act upon it, because this is where your Mars is. This is how you act on things based upon your emotions and how things are hitting you. So you got to be careful to not dive into that bag too far, which is I just need to be careful of it, because acting with the emotions is not necessarily always a bad thing. That's something that a lot of people have to learn, how to put their emotions into their actions, how to show people actually how they're feeling. You probably have a skill for this, to show people how it is that you're feeling, to show people your mood, to show people your emotions through your actions. So that's a very valid and beneficial way to communicate. But it can also become detrimental when you act hastily on an emotion, but that maybe didn't last, or wasn't valid, or not that it wasn't valid. All your emotions are valid, but you felt different later, and realized that the what you manifested in that situation, was actually a detriment, or that if you had thought about it a little longer, you wouldn't have probably have done those actions. So you got to be careful of that with Mars and Cancer, not to go too far with those energies. Jupiter in Sagittarius is an interesting alignment too, because Jupiter is home in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of expansion and opportunity and luck. Being in Sagittarius, the way you experience things, or the way you best experience things, or when you experience the most luck and receive the most opportunities, where you dive your faith into, is learning from the experience, from actually going through it and developing ideas of wisdom based upon the actual experience, not looking at the experience from an outside perspective and trying to dice it down and see how things will end up. It's not about the analytics or the logic behind it. It's about being open enough to have the experience and develop your own thoughts and feelings and emotions behind it. You probably have your own ways of viewing the world and higher morality, such as faith and God. You probably have your own concepts based upon based upon your own personal experiences and the things that you dive into. So with Jupiter and Sagittarius, you will benefit a lot from adventure and traveling and experiences. Not necessarily physical traveling, although that is not excluded, but spiritual traveling and feeling a lot of different emotions. Allow yourself to feel a lot of different emotions and to think a lot of different thoughts, or experience a lot of different mentalities. This is how you grow, because you don't necessarily have to accept all of them, but through the experience, you develop your own meaning and reasoning behind them, and you start having your own moral system and deeper wisdom that nobody can mess with. That logic can't necessarily try and disprove and calculate, because it's not based on logic. It's based on what you experience and what you feel and what you expressed or felt expressed. So that's a very interesting alignment to have, or a very cool alignment to have. Beneficial, I should say. It allows for deep expansion, and especially with the Scorpio, when you're really holding on to emotions, because it's fixed water. When you're really holding on to emotions, that's how you manifest. Ezra seems like a master manifester. That's what I get from reading this chart. Somebody who really can manifest their deepest desires into this reality. Saturn is in Virgo. So Saturn being what reality is going to throw at you to test your stability, to see how strong your foundation is. It being in Virgo is ruled by Mercury, but it's the feminine side of Mercury. So it is receiving thoughts and communications. So Virgo is all about analyzing and making sense out of things. It is mutable earth. So it's how the practicality affected the environment. So it's making sense out of things. It's the outcome of things, or figuring out the outcome of things, or making things perfect. So this is what Saturn's going to try and hit you with. So Saturn's going to try and make it seem like everything you do has to be perfect, or it's trying to see you're going to feel like things are good, but it's not good enough. That or the world is going to critically analyze the things that you are doing, and see the outcome of it. But when things are about, or when you have a lot of emotional energy, or when you have a lot of water, when things are generally about how you feel, it's kind of hard to make sense out of that, or you can't analyze those things as readily. So maybe reality is going to try and make your emotions seem a little less valid, or make it you feel the necessary need to perfect everything, for you to make feel like or dive too deep, or try and overanalyze things too deeply, or the lack of, or that's what the world is going to try and do, or make it feel, maybe that's what it'll feel like you're lacking, or you'll have trouble doing. Maybe you need to learn how to mix in this analytical, seeing how things work out, and trying to make it its best possible outcome, aka aim for perfection but not hold it against you when you're not there, or to be able to see perfection in multiple different ways and not get too lost on that analytical side of it. Because when you dive into straight analyzing whether the thing ended out as best as it can, which is that Virgo energy, it's that worrying, analytical, or analyzing, or skeptical energy. It also has that nurturing and that service type energy. So maybe you're gonna have to, it's more about how you put it into work and less about how perfect it is, or you need to understand that, because the world is going to make it seem like you have to be perfect, make it seem like you have to have everything make sense, and not everything needs to make sense. Yeah, that would be the reading. I'll also do the nodes. You have your south node in Virgo. So this is your south node is where your moon came from. So it is the direction it came from. So it's what you're used to, what your familiarities and what you're comfortable with. It being in Virgo, so maybe you do dive into this analytical bag, and you're able to really refine things into near perfect form, but maybe it's never perfect enough, or you can dive into that type of mentality, it never being perfect enough. Your north node is where your moon is heading, what you need to learn, or development, or destiny, what you're destined to learn, or what you need to learn to move forward, or to create general balance within your life, which would be in Pisces. Pisces is mutable water, so it's about the emotions of the surrounding environment. It is ruled by Neptune, the planet of dreams and imagination and illusions. It's ruled by Neptune and Jupiter, which is expansion and morality and insight. So a Pisces in your north node, you kind of need to dive into the creative side of your energy, expressing this creative side, or an understanding the energy of the environment that you're in, not necessarily diving into all the details and how things are playing out logically, but the vibe that radiates off of things, and to have more faith and belief within yourself and your dreams and imaginations, not to be so critical. You need to learn to have more faith and to believe. Pisces is all about believing. So, yeah, that would be the reading for Ezra. I'll show the little info section where it shows the percentage of the elements. Majority water, 46% water, and the rest air. 42% fixed. Half polarity, half masculine, and half feminine. That's interesting. Mine is the same way. My birthday is a day before, November 9th, of Ezra's. So feel that connection. That's interesting. But yeah, that would be your reading. I hope you enjoyed.